Good morning, everybody. I'm Kathy Hester, if you didn't already know that, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, what I wanted to show you is how to make your own chili powder because it's ridiculously easy. And I was making some because I'm going to be making my super cool new chili Pepita Idaho potato burgers this afternoon at 1. And so in this video, in the description, I've got a link to that video, or at least that where the video is going to be later. So you can go there and sign. Just click the button that says interested, and it'll remind you when I'm coming on this afternoon. Good morning, Karen. It's awesome to see you. Everybody say hi. I got up super early, super energized, took my walk at 6:30 when it was cool, like a smart person. So I am also like a smart person, making my own chili powder. First, let me say that I am not shaming any of you who want to use store-bought chili powder. Because I think there's always different levels of things that we're willing to do and times that we're willing to do them. Now, I love Ancho Chili powder, and it's hard for me to find. You can find everything on Amazon, so never worry. And even in this, we're using Guajillo peppers and Ancho Chili peppers in my recipe this afternoon. But you could use, I call it chili the stew powder, because chili powder has like cumin and oregano and some other things in it. Whereas when I'm making chili, like with an E, C-H-I-L-E powder, it's just that one thing. And it's kind of magical. And you guys know that I am a smeller. Hi, Cindy. Oh my God, I have missed seeing you so much. I'm so glad to see you here. I hope that you're doing well. And hi, Sherry from Michigan. It's awesome to see you guys. So making chili powder isn't that hard, and I'm going to talk you through a few different places that you can get them and a few different things that you could use to do this. And it is okay to be lazy. Go to Amazon right now and look up Ancho and get some Ancho chili powder and some Guajillo chili powder. It is more expensive that way because almost everything that you do at home costs less. You're paying for it with your time, but you're also getting a real fresh product. So let me first show you, we're going to do Ancho chili. So I went to the Hispanic grocery and got this, and I think it was maybe $2. And it probably made about this much. So I actually got some in bulk as well. And in bulk, they're even cheaper. I think they were $2.99 a pound, and I did 2 trays. So I've already done one of these. So when you get, what I love about the Ancho chilies, let's see if we can get let's get a good, better, there we go. Oh, because I want you to see all of its beautiful little wrinkles. And see, it's dried, but it's almost like a drier than you'd like raisin. And anchos remind me of raisins. When you smell them, it has this slight sweetness and darkness. And just, oh my God, it's a beautiful smell. So if for no other reason than you get to smell the Ancho chili, try it this way. So one of the things is that we need to remove the stem, right, that's in here. This is a little harder than like the other chili pepper I or make into powder a lot. These are dried chilies. They're just not dry enough to grind. So this is a Guajillo pepper. And see, it's still pliable, but it's still very much dry. Let's let you look at that there. And hi, Bonnie. Good morning to you. And everyone, feel free. Tell me if you've made any kind of chili powder before. Okay, and these I think I got at Walmart. I was not able to find Ancho chilies at Walmart. Guajillo chilies are everywhere, or you could use New Mexican chilies is another thing that you'll see around. But I just love the dark flavor. So I take kitchen shears. And what's the difference between kitchen shears and scissors? Anybody know? Hey, Sean from Florida. And Liz says it's 2 p.m. in Scotland. And it's not the middle of the night. It's not the middle of the night. It's actually 9 a.m. in the morning. And that is interesting. And Scotland is one of the places we want to visit so badly. It's so beautiful there. So this is almost like fruit leather consistency. And sometimes, like now, this stem is coming out pretty well. And then I'll get back to seeing, nobody's going to take me up on the kitchen shears yet, so we'll talk about that in a second. And I'm going to try and pour out some of this. This one's opening. That is unusual. Kitchen shears are things that you do not use on your packages or anything that you wouldn't lick. That is what kitchen shears are to me. So keep your kitchen shears in with all your kitchen utensils so nobody accidentally picks it up and opens that Amazon box that's been traveling for like a week and has been God knows where. Make sure your kitchen shears are clean. Also, I try not to put the kitchen shears in the dishwasher very often. I will on occasion when they're really gross from sometimes after chilies, if I let them sit, it will kind of glob on. But if you do that, go ahead and spritz it with a little bit of cooking oil and rub that in just to make sure that they don't get rusty. So that's what kitchen shears are. Okay, and that's why I feel confident cutting through this, knowing that I could lick these scissors right now because they are okay. So I'm going to try and get some of these seeds out. This one's very raisiny, and see, there's lots of stuff. And if you leave some seeds on, that's fine. It's up to you. It may make it a little hotter. Ancho and Guajillo chilies are quite mild. Okay, so know that. But you can get a hot one every once in a while, or a little bit of a spice. When you're doing this powder, it will all end up, but see, like, since this is kind of sticky, and we can get those off, or I might just be like, eh. Then I'm going to tear it into strips. If I had more ribs here, like here's a lot of times there'll be some more fleshier parts there that I might tear out. So that's how I prepared from the bag before I dehydrated them, okay? And what you're seeing, actually let me move those over there. What you're seeing here are, I then took those and I cut them in strips with my handy kitchen shears, because we love our kitchen shears. Hey, Anna from Ontario. And what I did is I had these, and we'll talk about this on another live, but this is my Breville Oven Air, and so it has a dehydrator function, and I love it. So I can put a bunch of these in. I can put 4, what do we call these? Trays. Let's call them trays. Now, before I had the Breville Air, I had the cheapest Nesco round dehydrator that you can find at any thrift store right now. And it works great. So you don't have to have anything fancy. If you have something fancy, use it. If you don't, it's awesome. So I cut these and I dehydrated them overnight. So what you'll notice is, so I can take a piece like this, and let me get it close to the microphone. Can you guys hear that? Okay. So it makes it crispy. So even though they were dried before and now they're dehydrated. And I'm going to, as you can tell, I've been making chili powder. So what I was thinking of doing before sharing this with you was washing this out and showing it in a clean one. But here's another tip. Make sure any spice grinder you're using is absolutely dry, or you're going to introduce moisture into there and then you're going to have an issue. We don't want an issue. I don't want to teach you to have an issue. So I'm just going to take some of these guys, and you don't want to fill it too full. This is my spice grinder that goes with my little Ninja here. You don't have to have this one, and you don't have to buy a Ninja just to get it, okay? I also have just a separate coffee grinder I use. I grind a lot of spice blends and a lot of spices. So I will say I do like having the power of a blender behind my spice grinder, but normal people wouldn't care. And I will put up a link too where you can get some of this stuff. Sometimes this is hard to find. So let me show you. I've got it about to here, right? So it's not full all the way. And then the way this one works, this goes on here first, okay, and it locks on. Then I'm going to put it in here. And with this one, there's an extract This is the Auto IQ Smooth Boost, which I don't think exists anymore. It's an older version. And I'm going to put the power on, and then extract is what gives it the best, really smallest grind. So I'm going to put it on there, and I will try and move away for a minute. And actually, let's let it do. Okay, so I'm going to stop it now. Cindy says, does your coffee grinder do as good a job grinding, and can it be used again for coffee? And that's a great question too. We'll talk, let me show you this for a second. So see how ground up it is? Let me see if I can lighten this up a little bit. There we go. And we'll get it over here. There we go. Give you a little more light. So, I mean, that ground up really well. Now, if I tried to do this with the wetter peppers, this is never going to happen. It's just going to gum up. So, sometimes you may notice too, oops, wrong camera. Woo! It's camera excitement day. You might notice that it didn't grind quite as well, and it probably means that it needs to be dehydrated a little bit longer, or that you live in a humid climate like I do. So what I did is, while I was preparing the live, I left these in my dehydrator to make sure they'd be as crisp as possible. If they've sat out for a little while and started to rehydrate, you may have to do that. So what Cindy was asking is, can I use a coffee grinder? And yes, you can. And I'm going to tell you how you can, and I'm going to give you a caveat, which is, if you're a really gourmet coffee drinker, I would get 2 coffee grinders eventually if you're going to do this. But here's the deal. So after coffee, before spice, grind up some white rice, and that takes in some of the flavors and things. Now, I will tell you too, if you've been using this coffee grinder for 10 years, some of that is going to be in the plastic. I don't know how much is going to go ahead and transfer over to your spice blend, but no, that's a possibility. So maybe do a little test batch first. Second, make your chili powder or your rosemary powder or whatever crazy thing I'm telling you to grind up that month, and then do the white rice again to try and get as much of that spice flavor out as you can. It is nice to have something that's stainless steel. So here's another thing. If your coffee grinder has stainless steel, it's not going to absorb that as much as if it's a more of a plastic sort of situation. That is going to give more flavor contamination back and forth. Okay, so now I wanted to show you my tomato powder, because what I do, those of you who know, I am not a fan of cherry tomatoes. And so I actually save all these little packets from vitamins, you know, all the silica gels, and it says do not eat because you should not eat it. It doesn't mean you can't store it in food or something food safe. And that helps in my humid climate for things not to go back to its original form. It seems like in North Carolina, like I've actually, I air fried something. I think it was chips or something, and I gave it to someone to taste, and they were like, well, it's not very crispy. And I was like, what are you talking about? I just had some of those, and the humidity just totally soaked in. So if you live in a dry place like New Mexico or somewhere like that, you're not going to have the same issues as if you live in North Carolina. So then I'm just going to take this powder, and you can see my other, I actually, while I was doing this, I found some more Ancho Chili powder hiding. I had 2 jars of it, and then I just put it in there. And look how pretty that is. And you guys, the smell of this is worth everything. Everything. It just brings a freshness and really vibrant flavor to your food that just an old chili powder that's been in your cabinet for like 10 years isn't going to do. Now, chilies, like some other spices, if you're doing something and you're cooking with them, the heat will help reactivate them like it does with cumin and some other spices. But if you get something where you can do your spice grinding, it's just super, super simple. And I think that you're really going to love it. And this is some Guajillo chili powder I just made before I got on here. Let me show you that. And, oop, there we go. There we go. Okay. And if I'm going to try and smell and tell you the difference, they both smell like chilies. To me, Guajillo is a little bit brighter, has almost a little bit of hint of citrus in it, whereas Ancho is definitely darker, reminds me more of like a raisin or like that kind of, like a plum, a dried plum, has like dried fruit sort of sweetness to it. And the two together are just amazing. And that's why I use the two together so very often. Another thing, if you get to go to the Hispanic market, or even if you're at Walmart and they have a Hispanic section, while you're there getting your chilies, think about getting some of these cinnamon sticks. They're very inexpensive. They're crumbly, which I find I like to crumble them up when I'm making chai, because I feel like there's more of the surface area gets in contact with the water to kind of take out that cinnamon flavor and put it into my chai. And it's just another way that you can support one of your local ethnic markets. And there's all kinds of cool things. You can get lots of chamomile and oregano. Not to mention, when you're there, you can get tomatillos, all the different fresh chilies that you might ever want. You can get papaya and a lot of things that maybe you don't see all the time at your normal supermarket. And if you do, I can almost guarantee it's going to be a lot cheaper. Something you can get tomatillos at Whole Foods, but I can get a lot of tomatillos at Compare Foods near my house for almost nothing. So making like a salsa verde or something like that is quite inexpensive. Okay, and Cindy says, does your coffee grinder do as good a job grinding, and can it be used again for coffee? Okay, we did that one. Thank you. Mine is stainless steel. Never tried the rice. Thanks for the information. Awesome. Yeah, so it's really just that simple, and I'm not going to put you through the agony of listening to my grinder go on. I do love the Ninja for the power. So what you may find if you're using a coffee grinder is that you might have to grind twice as long. It's not going to be as loud. It's not going to be as powerful. And that's okay, right? I also have, Cheryl gifted me a coffee grinder that has two different cups. So if you don't have any kind of grinder, you're looking for something like maybe in the $20, $30 range, you could do that and have two separate cups. And it's very similar to this. So one's always coffee, one's always spices, and you don't have to mix and match those flavors in perhaps an unexpected, unpleasant way. Do you guys have any other questions? And if not, you guys totally have to join me at 1. So click on that link that is, depending on where you're watching, could be anywhere, right? Above, below, to the side, somewhere. There's me going, hey, let's do this stuff. And it says, my Idaho Potato Live is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, and there are going to be some swag giveaways, and I am going to wear an apron, so you might not want to miss it. It may never happen again, and that it is my new favorite potato burger. So I just created the recipe like, I don't know, like less than 2 weeks ago, and we have eaten so many of them, and they're so yummy. It's oil-free, gluten-free, nut-free. There are some seeds, but I could have some alternatives for you on that. So it really fits in every diet. And so I hope to see you guys there, and have an amazing day until then.